Advocacy in art. What is advocacy? It is public support for a cause by an individual or a group. Advocacy can influence political, social, and economic institutions. What does it look like, sound like, feel like? So advocacy could look like somebody peacefully protesting at an event, standing up for people or a cause in person, over the phone, or online, creating signs, artwork, shirts, songs, hashtags, fundraising, creating chants, and more. It can feel extremely difficult at times, but it also can feel like something you're proud of. It can feel like you're being really brave to embrace something that you believe in. Here are some examples of advocacy. So one really big one right now is if somebody was to publicly support the Black Lives Matter movement or be a part of it. There's also publicly supporting the women's rights movement or being a feminist, publicly supporting the environmental movement or being an environmentalist, publicly supporting animal rights or being an animal rights activist, publicly supporting homeless shelters or advocating for the homeless, publicly supporting autism awareness or advocating for people who are autistic. And I want you to think about, what do all of these have in common? They are all passionate about a cause. What are you passionate about? And it cannot be out of hatred for this class. This is a school assignment, so it must be school appropriate. We must think how we can be respectful to others while we are talking about a cause that matters to us. On a piece of paper, write, "What am I an advocate for?" in the middle of your page and circle it. Do not write this too large. It does not need to be really big. Create a word web of causes that matter to you. For each one, continue the web by writing reasons you support it or advocate for it. Think about what you are most passionate about and have the most reasons to support. Also be thinking about how you will advocate for that cause in your artwork. Here are some examples from famous artists of art that was showing what they advocate for. So this one over here was Banksy. He is an anonymous artist who does a bunch of spray paint, and a lot of his artwork is very political. So this is Martin Luther King, and he has an X on him. Since we know that Martin Luther King was assassinated, this symbol right here is very powerful imagery. Keith Haring is a pop artist, and we'd already talked about pop art, so I hope that you can see some of those characteristics right here. He really wanted people to know about a disease that was very life-threatening and wasn't being taken seriously. So you can see right here where he put ignorance equals fear. He really wanted to make sure that people were not afraid of those who had this disease and instead were putting their energy into finding a solution for it. Andy Warhol, he was advocating for endangered species. So all of the animals that are present here are animals that were going extinct, and he was trying to put in the public spotlight. Over here we have a billboard that was created by the Guerrilla Girls. The Guerrilla Girls are feminists who wanted to make sure that the famous art museums were equally representing male and female artists. It says, "Do women have to be naked to get into the Met Museum? Less than 5% of the artists in the modern art sections are women, but 85% of the nudes are female." At this point in history, men definitely dominated the art museums. It was very hard for a woman to be able to get her artwork into the museum, and that's what they were advocating for those women to have a better opportunity to get their artwork that kind of exposure. Jean-Michel Basquiat right here, he created this artwork, and it is supposed to represent the effects of police brutality. He is an American artist, and he is Puerto Rican and Haitian. Here are some more examples of advocacy in art. So over here we have a polar bear that shows environmental damage being done to the ice caps. Over here we have one that says "Come together in peace" with two hands that are symbols for people being united. Here's another one that has to do with pollution. This one over here shows three Americans that all look very different from each other to show that there is not one single type of American, yet we are all equal. Over here, this one says "Their voices aren't enough, we need yours," and "End human trafficking now." So these posters are being used to advocate for that cause. This one right here was a very popular anti-war advocacy poster. So all of them realized their passions, and then what? They found an effective way to communicate it to the world. The way they communicate it matters because it will determine whether or not it will positively influence other people's hearts and minds. Remember to follow STAR by making your design and message respectful. Advocating is not always easy. It can be challenging to stand up for what you believe in. But make sure that when you are creating your design, it is not going to be disrespecting any other people, and it is going to be school appropriate. Please note that I am not in any way trying to convince you to believe in any causes that you do not wish to. I am simply explaining the concept of using art as a tool for advocating. You will be able to choose your subject matter the same way that all artists do. It just cannot be hateful. So the way that you present it needs to be positive and be for a cause that you really do care about. A good way to think about it is when you hear an ad for something political, I think we know the difference between when one is talking about something positive about themselves versus when they are bashing someone else. We want to make sure that ours are just standing up for what we think, not mocking or making fun of another person, idea, or cause itself. Art making. So you're going to be doing a contract piece. You're going to tell me what you are advocating for, what materials you want to use, your design idea, and do 3 practice sketches that are different from one another. Sometimes our first idea is not our best idea. That's why we need to explore different options. You will submit this information and your sketches in the form of a quiz in Canvas. If you are a virtual student, plan on using whatever materials you have available to you at home, or if you need anything else, let me know and we can arrange for a time for you to pick it up from the school. If you are one of the in-person students, please make sure that you bring any materials that you want to use from outside of our classroom with you when we do start making these. And let me know if there's something that you need around the room to create your artwork that we don't typically use as well. I might have what you need.